Hello, Ferasticos. The people that speak English, Ferasticos means that you are a motivated person and awesome person too. So the first thing that we are going to do now, so hi Ray.
Hi.
He's going to pick one color, painting. He's going to leave his mark here with just a stroke. You can leave your mark there.
Okay.
And whatever.
Any color?
Yeah, any color.
Okay.
Oh. Well,
It's fine, that's fine.
I will hold
There we go.
like this,
I'll
okay.
prop it up. Perfect.
Sorry.
Just one stroke?
Yeah, one
Okay.
stroke.
I don't want to do too much. Okay.
Yeah, very nice.
Okay.
Oh, I like the color. So
Cool.
this will be your mark that you are doing this talk with me.
Okay.
And I hope that you like it.
Yeah,
So-
no, I'm excited to do this.
Okay. Hello, Ferasticos again. We are in the Naked Mind channel and here we expand by sharing. So today we are with our guest, Race.
Hello.
Yes, his name is Race.
Yeah.
We are today with the human race.
Yeah. The
So,
human comma race.
So I am kidding, I'm just kidding, because he has a channel called The Human Race. And if you guys want to check it out, it's very nice. And I found the name very interesting, very smart, creative.
Yeah.
So I like it a lot. So I found very creative and very smart. How did you choose that name?
So one day me and my friends were just kind of hanging out and like I kind of put it together. Like people always, whenever they hear like the word race out in public, like it's race day for our cross country races or something, I'm like, that's funny, that's my name. And like it's just kind of like a joke whenever I hear the word, I'm like, hey, that's my name. And then one day someone said the human race and I was like, that's kind of like that's a catchy name. Like it would be kind of cool to like name like a YouTube channel after it. So it just kind of stuck. And then the human race, it was just kind of like, when I heard that, I was thinking, yeah, that's my channel.
Yeah. So
it just kind of fell into place.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he is very adventurous, very creative too. And he is true to his name because he's a great runner. So, and imagine your pace is 3 minutes per kilometer in cross country.
I'm not too great with like the metric system, but to put it in like miles, I can my fastest mile, like just 4 laps around a track, it was a 4 minute 22 seconds.
Whoa.
So but then for 5K or 3 miles, it's a little slower. I can't maintain that pace for that long, but I can still go pretty fast.
But it's still, you are the Flash. Because whoa, imagine it's very fast. And I saw last year you did here, I think so. In this
actually,
this
yeah, no.
field,
So right. The mile I was talking about, the 4 minute 22 seconds,
here.
it was on this track
So?
right here. Yeah, I forgot about that. You just reminded me because it was right here.
All the track, like 4 loops.
Yep, 4 loops.
Ooh, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and 4 minutes, it's very fast.
Yeah, 4 minutes is really fast.
Yeah. And you are, I think, the Navy midshipman.
Yes. So I'm in. I go to school at Purdue University down in Indiana, and at Purdue, I'm not running there. I am in the run club at Purdue, but that's just kind of like one of my pastimes, what I choose to do in my free time. But a lot of my time is taken up by ROTC. So I'm in the Navy ROTC. I'm a midshipman there. And so that takes up a lot of my time, but it requires me to kind of stay mentally sharp and physically capable, I guess.
Yeah, so I just introduce yourself. Now I will let you introduce yourself. You can say again your name, if you are single, married, divorced, or where are you from?
Hi guys, I'm Race. I have always lived here in Southwest Michigan. I grew up here. I'm single. I go to Purdue University down in Indiana.
So girls?
Yes, girls.
There, Purdue.
Yes. That'd be nice.
And are you going to do, and what are you doing there?
I'm studying nuclear engineering.
Oh.
So I originally
Okay.
went wanting to do aerospace engineering because it's a big aerospace school. We get a lot of astronauts that go there and then
Oh, I didn't know
eventually go up to
this.
space. Yes, there's been 27 astronauts that have graduated from Purdue. So,
Whoa.
but I went into it wanting to do aerospace engineering, but I eventually found out I didn't really like that. So now I'm
okay.
doing nuclear engineering.
And are you liking
Yeah,
it?
no, I really like it.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm super
Okay.
excited.
I have a question about your name.
Yeah.
Your dad or your mom pick it? And why
So-
they pick it?
So there was a show, a cartoon back in the 60s that came out called Johnny Quest. And
Johnny Quest.
and one of the main characters in it was more of a side character, but he was in like every episode. His name was Race Bannon. And my dad grew up in the 60s, so he obviously watched this show growing up and he loved it. And one day him and his best friend came home when my mom was pregnant with me. And he was like, "We got to name him Race. That'd be the coolest thing ever." And she hated it. She did not want my name to be Race.
No.
But eventually she was like, "Okay, I guess that could be kind of cool." So they went with it, and it kind of stuck. And then I actually turned out to be a good runner. So people always associate it with my running, but it actually has nothing to do with the fact that like my parents ran growing up or something. It's just I'm named after a cartoon character.
After a cartoon, okay. I thought that your parents like it a lot to run or
Yeah, well, I mean, they did run. They both ran cross country in high school and everything, but yeah, no, my name has no relation to running at all. But now it kind of does.
Oh, yeah. And do you think that your name Race, you started to run because of your name, or?
I think having my name, I didn't want to be the slow kid named Race. So I feel like it was a little bit of a motivator to kind of get me to actually start running. But I started running because in elementary school, like my like before junior high and all that, my school did this little cross country race. It's just like 1 mile race, and anyone could sign up for it. And my gym teacher was walking around asking people. She was like, "Hey, Race, you should sign up for this." And I was like, "No, I'm okay," because I hated running races because at the start, you know how you're like you get like nervous and you're like the adrenaline's starting to pump. I do not like that feeling. So back then I was like I can't deal with that pressure. So I rejected it. I was like, I'm not running cross country. Then I go home that night and my dad comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, one of your teachers reached out to me and I signed you up for this cross country race without me knowing." And I was like, okay, fine. So then I ended up doing it and I ended up actually liking it. So and then it stuck with it. So
did you practice a lot for the first race?
No. My mom took me out like the day before and she said, "All right, we're gonna see how far you can, or like, you know, if you can actually run the length of this race." And it was just like a mile. So, and I struggled, but I did it. But that was before I knew like how to properly train for races, and you actually had to run before your races to actually run good. So,
okay.
so I just went out, and I was only like 10 at the time, so I was really young. So.
And
yeah.
when was the time that you was like really good doing it?
So the best. Like the fastest I ever was? Is that what your question
or
was,
your better version of running?
Okay, yeah, so I guess I started taking it more serious when I hit like grade 6, like middle school. So once that hit, I actually joined an actual cross-country team, and I had a coach who trained me and everything. So then once I had that, and I started to develop kind of a better understanding of how to run, and once that happened, it was kind of like, from there, I noticed a big like upturn in my ability to run. And then once I got into high school, that's when it really kicked off, and that's when I started running like really fast.
And do you have, you told me that you have siblings.
Yes.
And they are very active too, like both or just?
Yeah, so both of them are. I feel like something all of us kind of have in common is we don't like to be in each other's shadows. Like if I'm good at something, my brother hates trying to be good at it because I feel like we all kind of excel in our own areas. So my older brother, Riley, he's a big wrestler. And we all grew up wrestling. I wrestled for like 8 years, but I was never like amazing at it. And then I realized once I got into high school that like I could be really, really great at running, or I could be good at wrestling. So I chose the running route. And then same with my little brother. He ran cross country, he wrestled, but both of them just like, you know, he was average at both of them, which isn't a bad thing, but he's actually playing tennis now. And I think he could be really good at that if he practices a lot.
So he's discovering his...
Yeah, he's finding his own path. Like, yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
And what do you, because I don't know, the gap between you guys are big or?
Not really. So my older brother's only 2 years, or like a year and a half older than me. And then my younger brother, he's like, I think he's 4 years younger than me. So I guess that's kind of a bigger gap, but it's not huge.
And do you think that you guys have different personalities, different mindsets?
Yeah.
Or hobbies too?
So personalities, yes. We all have very different personalities. But mindset, I feel like we all have that kind of mindset that we want to outperform everyone else and try and be the best versions of ourselves that we can. So from like a mental standpoint, I feel like we're all pretty similar, but looking at our personalities, we're like different people.
Different. And how is growing up with different personalities?
It's good
because you guys are all men. So all guys, how is this?
It's very very competitive. Like, we're always fighting. We're always trying to like I said, outperform the other person, be better than the other one. But as we're kind of growing up and maturing a little, I do see my little brother kind of starting to act a little more like me. Like, so our personalities are kind of starting to collide. Okay. And it's nice. We're not fighting as much, which is good. Yeah.
And so do you think that you are like a model to him?
Yeah, I think he does kind of look up to me as like a role model, but at the same time he doesn't want to be exactly like me. He wants to be his own person. So I think he's taking the good parts of me,
like and the motivation.
Yeah, and then he's looking at me and seeing the things I'm not doing good at, like I'm like messing up in like school or something. He's like, I'm not gonna do that. So then that's why I think like the youngest person is always the most like well developed, because the oldest, and like for me, I'm the middle child. We kind of had to like learn by making mistakes.
And how is being the middle child? Do you think, because some people, in my family, my mom is the middle too, and she felt like the older one has attention because was the first one, and the last one is the last one and gets the attention. Yeah.
So I agree. I think the middle kid's kind of an outcast. Like he's kind of on the side. I mean, I'm not saying my parents don't love me, but but they definitely kind of just let me kind of be. Like I kind of grew up just kind of becoming my own person and not really having much like they didn't really push me in any directions, which was kind of nice. But again, pushing like my brothers in these directions. Like for my older brother, my dad wrestled in high school and then in college a bit. So his with my older brother being his first kid, he was like, I'm gonna have you be a wrestler because I loved wrestling. So he kind of got pushed in that direction. Then when I came around, he kind of did, but at the same time, he knew that my older brother was going to be the wrestler, and I had to kind of make my own path. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, being the middle child, it's funny to say that like we're like kind of like the worst. but it's I do enjoy being the middle child. It's fun.
How do you think that you have this motivation, and you think that you born like this? Like,
no, I don't think anybody's born with motivation. I think it's definitely something that's like taught. And I think it's not, it can't just be taught to you from someone else. I think you have to kind of invite that motivation to be like adopted into your mindset. So for example, if let's just take running, for example. If you don't want to run every day, you don't have to. But if you do, you can have other people be a positive influence on you and teach you how to properly run. And then you can use that motivation and that knowledge to help further motivate you by actually improving at running. And then eventually you're just self-motivating by constantly improving on one accomplishment after another. I feel like it's definitely something it's kind of like a muscle, like how you can build up a muscle and it becomes stronger and stronger. The more you work on motivating yourself, the better and easier time you'll have every time you do it.
Do you think that having two brothers helped you to have this, how can I say it, not competition, but seeking to be better?
Yeah. I think it definitely helped to find a way to become better every day, because I look at both of them and I see them doing their own things, and I think it we build off of each other, because I see my older brother succeeding in wrestling, and that encourages me to succeed in whatever I'm doing at the time. Or I see my little brother doing really well in school, and then I look at my grades and I see that I could probably be doing better, so I start studying more or something like that.
Yeah, because nowadays I think a lot of people, they are without goals in life. And how can we seek a goal, or how we can build a goal? Because sometimes people, they don't have this motivation.
I think a lot of it has to do with social media. I really believe that if we didn't have social media, we wouldn't be on our phones as much, and we wouldn't be so disconnected from society. And if we had more social interactions, like face to face rather than through a screen, and having just more time to talk to people and understand their way of thinking, instead of just sticking to your beliefs because that's all you're hearing, and your phone is feeding you all these things you want to hear rather than things that other people are trying to say, if that makes sense. Like your phone has an algorithm in it, and it's feeding you all these things that
you want.
So I feel like it's really hard to improve yourself when all you're getting is this stuff that you're enjoying to get, rather than seeing like other people's perspectives on things. So that's the big thing, I think.
And did you have in some point in your life that you were like, how can I say this? Your family or your life in social media were like doing the wrong thing for you to get better in your running or in school, or relationships too?
There was, I guess it was probably, you know what, it was when COVID happened. And the world basically shut down. I
forgot that.
Yeah. So when everybody was kind of separated, it kind of made me realize that I can't like always rely on all these other people to do these things for me. And then I kind of started developing my mental thoughts and everything, and just kind of improving that, rather than like listening to everybody else kind of talk and never really doing anything for myself. So when that happened, I kind of had to start thinking for myself a bit more, and I had to start developing my own philosophy towards being a better person, like physically and mentally. So when COVID happened, I started going on runs every single day, even though I didn't have to because school was shut down and all sports were canceled. But I was still running, and then I was still studying when like other people were outside playing and stuff. And I feel like that was when I realized that I gotta like work hard and actually like work on myself, and then I'll actually see the improvement, instead of just kind of hoping that I'll get by somehow.
And how the COVID affected you?
I think I had a positive impact on it. A lot of people like suffered from it because, you know, it was a terrible thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people lost jobs.
Yeah.
But for me, I took it as kind of a positive thing, a time to kind of reset with myself. So I kind of like fell back into the shadows for a while and kind of just like did my own thing. I didn't really, I did hang out with people. Like I still hung out with friends and with my family and everything. But I definitely started working on myself a lot more during that time.
And in your house, how was the COVID? Like your parents,
You know,
your brothers, how they felt like?
Yeah, being stuck with each other all day for months at a time, we definitely didn't get along the entire time. So, but that's when we kind of just like separated, went into our rooms, and just kind of were with ourselves for a while. So that was our solution: just stop talking to each other for a bit, and then hopefully in a few hours we'll be fine. But yeah.
Okay. And can you describe for me the worst day in your life? You have
tough.
in your mind, like, what was the worst day in my life? What happened that day?
The worst day. I don't know. It's tough. So something I always do with myself is I'm not avoiding your question. I'll get back to the question,
no,
but
okay.
Whenever something bad happens, I have the mindset that there's always going to be some good that comes out of it. So when I have like a terrible day, I never really view it as a terrible day. I view it as like a learning curve, so I can kind of look back on that day and be like, what went wrong and why did it go wrong? And how can I improve like tomorrow? So tomorrow isn't the worst day of my life. So I'm having a hard time thinking about it because
Can be in your childhood or I don't know, now.
I guess the worst day of my life that I really didn't have any control over was the day I got news that my grandpa had died. And I was a little younger, so like it was like the first real like death that had happened in my family, for me at least. So that's when I kind of realized that, like, you know, I'm not going to be on this planet forever, because my grandpa had passed away and I'd known him my whole life. So when that happened, it was kind of just like very upsetting, because all day I was just kind of out of it, because it had never happened to me. I knew like people died all the time, but no one as close as I was like with him. Yeah, so that was probably the worst day for me. And I mean, there really wasn't much I could do to like change that, so tomorrow wouldn't happen. The one positive thing that came out of that is that I realized like I got to cherish every moment with everybody, because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, this is right.
Yeah.
I see. And in your family, and when this happened, did you have like support?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely did, because everybody was kind of upset, because he was a great guy and we all loved him. So, like my mom was obviously upset. Both my parents were, and then my cousins, my aunts and uncles were all upset too. But we all kind of helped each other throughout that process.
And how do you think what advice did you have to people that pass through this experiences, parents dying or other people too that are close to them?
Yeah, definitely just take every moment you have with your loved ones, even if you're not getting along. Enjoy those moments you aren't getting along with them, because it's not going to last forever. And always forgive them if something happens and you're not on like good terms with your family. I always try and forgive people no matter what happens, no matter how bad what they did was or something, because in the end, no one's going to be here 100 years from now. Well, no one's going to be here like 200 years from now. So nothing's permanent. So enjoy every moment, and then once someone does pass away, you can look back and hopefully everything went well with them, and you can have those cherished memories and never have like a bad memory about them.
And how did you get along with your family? How is a day with them, like with your dad, your mom, and your brothers too? So
as I'm getting older, like I said earlier on, we used to not get along, me and my brothers. Like it was always competitive. We were always fighting and arguing. But as I'm getting older, we're kind of maturing a little more, and we're starting to agree on a lot more things and actually start to hang out a little bit too. So I guess the brother dynamic is getting a lot better. We get along and have fun together. And then my parents, both of them work, so I only see them like in the evenings or the mornings. But But I mean, that's good too. I don't have any, like, I love hanging out with my parents as well in the evenings. I usually, I like watching movies with my mom, or I go to the gym with my dad sometimes too.
Okay.
So.
Oh, the gym.
Yep.
It's nice to do those kind of things with our parents.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And do you think that what characteristics?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's right.
And you have from your dad and from your mom. How is your personality?
I think like the compassion I have, like the way I care for other people is definitely from my mom. And then mental toughness and physical toughness, it comes from both of them, but I can see my physical capabilities a lot more from my dad, because he was a big wrestler. He loved working out growing up and everything. So I can definitely see that. And then my mom's probably a little more mental tough, that I got most of my mental toughness from. But yeah, that's probably it.
So you have a great characteristics, because those are very
Yeah.
good for nowadays.
Yeah, definitely.
And nowadays, with social media and those kind of things, do you think that relationships, because you're single, but did you have some
Like past relationships? Yeah.
And how was your past relationships? Do you think that was how can I say it? You could learn something from there?
Yeah. No, I definitely. From everything that happens, you can take something and learn something from it. So past relationships, I think there's got to be something that didn't work out, like, because obviously I'm single now. So looking at my past relationships, I can think like, okay, this didn't work out, or this is why we ended up splitting up, and I can take that knowledge and hopefully take it into a more positive relationship in the future that will take me into my future. So that's like something relationship wise that I can take from those. Yeah.
And when you have the split, when you break up, do you think that you feel more motivated to do something positive?
Yeah, definitely.
Or got more depressed, was a little bit hard? How was this experience?
I think you can either take both routes you can go, but obviously sometimes you might not have a choice. Like you got to be a little sad sometimes, so you got to take the more depressing route and kind of sulk and but for the motivated route, I've always liked to think I like taking that route, because I think if you're feeling good about yourself, then it kind of works itself into other areas of your life too. So if, let's say I just broke up with someone, and then I have the motivation to go to the gym every morning. So I'm working out and I'm starting to see positive results from that. I'm starting to see like more muscles. I'm starting to get stronger. And then with that, I'm also building up my confidence, because I know I'm starting to feel better, and I'm starting to look a little better. And then that can also encourage me to start eating healthier, which can start like, it's kind of like a chain reaction, one good thing after another. And then from those nutrients I'm getting from eating healthy, I get more vitamins and I start looking even healthier. And then it just helps me become a happier, like more content with myself, rather than relying on someone else to make me feel happy and good about myself.
And do you think that you had a time that you felt like not too, can I explain this? Not too hopeless. You feel hopeless.
Yeah, I mean there's definitely been times when that's happened, but I've always kind of I've really try and focus on like the positive sides of things. If something's not going my way and I feel hopeless, I think, well, at least I still have this, or like at least I still have my family to go to after my girlfriend broke up with me, or something like that. And then I can use that source that I'm saying, well, I still have this, and then I can use that to help me feel better. Or like at least I'm able to go to the gym and work out every day. There's some people who can't, like, because they're paralyzed or something like that. So I always kind of look at the brighter side of things.
But you never felt like lost control of your mind someday, or on a specific moment or week? I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's a time when something wasn't going my way, and I got a little flustered. Like I started to get angry, and I lost my temper, and I started lashing out on people that didn't really have anything to do with it. And then looking back on it, I feel terrible about doing that. But then I can just kind of look at that and be like, hey, let's not do that again, because that didn't work out too well. So yeah.
And do you have something that are bothering you now, and some obstacles or struggles that you want to get rid of, like now, but something that was very deep and like you always wanted to rid off and you couldn't? There's something like this,
like that's going on in my life right now, or just something in the past,
or something in the past? Yeah, something that it's like a burden in your life, and you want to get rid of really bad.
Oof. I guess like one thing I'm always scared to admit that like I'm like always denying that I'm not is my addiction to phone, like my phone. I'm always on my phone. I was actually talking to my mom about it too. I was like, I need to stop being on my phone so much, because I'm spending probably like a quarter of my day on my phone. Like I said, I'm always scared to admit it, because if I admit that I'm addicted to something, it's obviously an addiction isn't good. And so like outwardly admitting that I'm addicted to my phone, it can help me start to realize, okay, I need to set my phone down here or there. And that's not even like a terrible thing, but I think it could lead to a lot of negative things in my life, and it has. Like it's led to some really bad habits, like me staying on my phone really late and not getting like a full 8 hours of sleep or something like that. So I guess that's probably the deepest thing that comes to mind right now. But yeah.
Okay, and do you have something that you wanna introduce in your life now? Some a habit, very good habit that you wanna introduce?
I feel like I'm slowly taking on more and more stuff. Especially this last year, I've started to. I kind of created a list in my mind that was like, okay, I'm gonna start working out every single day, running every single day.
Whoa, this is hard.
Eating as much as I can so I can get a little bigger and maintain the calories so I don't get like super skinny and like lose all my muscle. So one thing that I really have been focusing on adapting, because I feel like I have so many things, it's hard to just be like, there's one thing that I really want. But one thing that I'm really focusing on right now, that I'm trying to create a habit for myself, is going to bed earlier rather than later. And then that encourages me to get up earlier, because I still get a decent amount of sleep that way. But if I go to bed earlier, then I can get up earlier, and I'm a lot more productive in the mornings. I get a lot more stuff done in the mornings. So if I do that, then that could lead to a lot of progress.
And how is your running now?
It's not as good as it used to be. I don't run as much as I used to when I was actually competitively running, but I still try and run at least 3 to 4 times a week. And when I go back to college, I'm in a run club, so that encourages me to run at least 5 times a week. So, but I do it more for leisure now, like leisure, just more for fun, because towards the end of my high school running, when I was really competitive, I got a little burnt out because I was running too much, and I wasn't really feeling super excited about going out to run every day like I used to. So I took a long break last summer. I took like 3 months off of running, and I didn't really run at all. And when I came back when I went to Purdue and I started running for the run club, I met some really cool people, and I started running with them, and I started just like taking my time when running and not really focusing on how fast I'm going to run, but instead like who I'm running with, and I had more fun that way.
And do you think that when something happens in your family, your running is affected?
Yes, if it's for me in the past, when something, and it's not just my family either, when something doesn't go right, like in my life, like if something bad happens, like if my girlfriend breaks up with me or something, then I can see that in my running. But for me, it's always been a way to take out my anger, because so when I'm running, I'm in my head. Like you don't really have people to talk to in a race. You're not talking to people. So I'm just in my head and I'm thinking, all right, this didn't go right. Like, instead of taking out my anger on other people, I can take out my anger while running. And I usually, so when something's not going my way, I usually end up running a lot faster than I thought I could before. So that's one reason why I think I was a pretty good runner, because things like that did happen a lot in high school. So yeah.
And I almost was forgetting. And do you have? I always ask the guests if they have a phrase or quote they like the most in their lives.
Yes.
And do you have one?
One quote that I've always lived by is, "A moment of pain is worth a lifetime of glory."
Oh, I know.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite quote. And then one other one. It's a more recent one. I heard this. It was, "There's no growth in the comfort zone. And there's no comfort in the growth zone."
Oh, okay. Yeah. Nice. I like it. And when they came important to you, or favorite ones?
So the moment of pain is worth a lifetime of glory. That I was reading a book. Do you know the book Unbroken?
Oh, yeah, I know.
So that's where that quote came from, at least for me. The main character's brother told him that before he went to the Olympics. And that's always stuck with me, because when you're in the middle of a race, you're not going to be having a good time. Like, halfway through the race, you have that thought and you're like, I could stop here, or you could push through it. And it's just always resonated with me, because if I did push through that, I could be remembered as something greater than if I quit this race right now. So that one's where that became really important to me, when I was running a lot. And then the other one, there's no comfort in the growth, or there's no growth in the comfort zone, and no comfort in the growth zone. Well, yeah. So whatever I just said, that became important to me when I started when I started to develop my mental thinking a little more, my mental toughness. I really started focusing on becoming more of a. When I started focusing more on mental toughness, I started taking more time with, like, how I do things. I started being more precise with my strength training and running and everything, and I started becoming more, like, at peace with myself. And I started developing all these philosophies, and I started looking at other people, and I started picking and choosing these things that I wanted to be a part of me, that I noticed that I really liked about those people. And one of my instructors for ROTC told me that, and I really liked that, because if you're always comfortable, then you're never going to grow. You're never going to want to reach out and become a better person, because you're comfortable. But if you're uncomfortable, you're going to grow. And because that constant pressure you have on yourself, it's encouraging that growth. So that's when that became important to me.
And someday, did you feel like not having more this motivation, like, oh, I don't want to go more and run, and I don't want to do those things. I want to do, like, just be comfortable in my zone. Yeah, there's definitely some days where I think that, and I'm like, I don't want to get up super early, and I don't want to go run, I don't want to go to the gym, but it's something it's kind of a game I play with myself, and I trick my brain into thinking I have to do it no matter what. So if I have that thought, and I'm like, I could do it, but I also couldn't do it. Like, I could just not do it. And when I have that thought, it's kind of like a punishment for myself. I'm like, all right, since you thought that, you have to do it now. And it doesn't really make sense, but so. Yeah, I don't know how it works.
Like, if I'm wanting to, if I told myself I'm going to do a run, I tell myself I have to do that run. And if I have the thought that I'm not going to do the run, I tell myself, all right, for thinking that, you have to do it no matter what. So it's a little confusing, but it's a way of tricking my mind into saying, no matter what you think you're going to do it no matter what. Like, regardless, if you're saying you're not going to do it, you still have to do it because you told yourself you were going to do it.
You always were like this
No,
in
no,
your
no.
childhood?
No, I started
or-
doing this more recently. So
recently.
it was probably like the last like 6 months I've been doing this, and it has it has helped me improve. And then I also think to myself, if I do this thing right now that I don't want to do, the next time it's going to be easier because I'm going to grow from this uncomfortable position I'm going to be in.
Now ending the things,
Yeah.
almost ending. If you had the chance to go back in your childhood, what do you want to change in your childhood? If you couldn't, if you have the power to change everything, what do you want to change if you can?
If I could change anything, I'd probably change the time I realized that I'm capable of becoming more than what I think I could be. Like right, so now this past year I've realized that I could be so much more than I had previously thought, because I didn't realize how strong the mind is and how strong you can almost trick yourself into thinking like I can go a little bit further than I had thought that I could before. So I wish I kind of knew that sooner, because if I had known that sooner rather than just a year ago, then I'd be able to push past so much more now today than I am currently able to.
And if you could change something in, I don't know, in your past, in your family or in your relationships, what do you wanted to say to this child? The race kid.
Yeah, I just tell them to live in the moment, because obviously some things aren't going to work out all the time. Some things might, and you just got to enjoy everything that happens, because you never know what's going to happen.
Okay. And what is the best advice that you received from someone?
It's very simple. It's a very simple thing, but my cross-country coach, I was going through some things things weren't going my way, and he just looked at me and he said, "You know, Race, it's a long life." And then like that's all he said, and that's all it is. And I was just thinking to myself, you know what, it is a long life. Like I'm only 18 years old. I'm gonna have such a long life ahead of me, and so much more is gonna happen. And now I think, like 60 years down the road, if I look back on this day that I'm having a little problem right now, I bet I'm gonna laugh, because it's so insignificant to the rest of my life. So.
What was this that wasn't going?
So
like
my girlfriend had just broke up with me,
okay.
so I was
Okay.
and he knew I was having a tough time with it, so he just looked at me and said, "Race, it's a long life." I was like, you're right, it is. This is only one little part of my life. Yeah.
Okay, so it was a little tough for you.
Yeah. But I mean, I got through it.
I think for everyone it's tough. Breaking up, it's very hard.
Yeah.
And so thank you for accepting this talking, for sharing your experiences, because our goal here is to relieve the guests, relieve, I don't know if I am saying it right, relieve and motivate the person too, because it's a relief when we are sharing our experiences. We are like, oh, now I can talk about it, stay relieved. And the motivational part is that you are seeking to grow yourself, to be better, and this is our goal. And now, if you like it, you can share, you can hit a like or comment. And now we are going to the challenge, so let's go.
All right. Oh yeah.
It's hard.